The 805 Focus is brought to you in part by Nonprofit Connect. Nonprofit Connect provides superior leadership tools and resources so nonprofit leaders and board members can make valuable decisions to move their organization forward to a sustainable and vibrant future. More information on services online at nonprofitconnect.org.
Welcome everyone to 805 Focus. I'm Dr. Cinder Sinclair with Nonprofit Connect, and we will be bringing you the latest on your favorite nonprofits, so get ready to be inspired. Now, today we are in the studio of hypecats.com, and you will notice that my guest and I are 6 feet apart. And so, my guest today, my very special guest, is Marlene Flores, who is the Executive Director of Importa. Welcome, Marlene.
Thank you for having us.
I'm so glad you're here, and I'm really looking forward to hearing about your organization. I've read a little bit about it. I have a friend who's on your board, and I know you do really important work. And so could you just tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so Importa is a nonprofit organization, and we provide free legal services, and we do immigration work. We do a variety of different things that relate to immigration, anything from DACA renewals, naturalization, permanent residency renewals, family petitions, or also other immigration remedies, which includes VAWA, U visas, family consultations, etc. We have 3 offices. We have our Santa Barbara office, we have our Lompoc office, and Santa Maria office. So
Wow.
We're very busy.
You're all over the place.
Yes.
Gosh, so talk to us a little bit about DACA. What does it stand for? What does it mean? Why is it important? How do you do that work?
So DACA stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrival, and that gave a lot of young adults the opportunity to work in the United States. It gives them a work authorization, a social security, and a California identification. They're also protected from not being deported. There is different guidelines in order for them to qualify. At this point, there's only renewals. So what we're very busy is with renewing every 2 years. And that gave the opportunity for a lot of students to continue their education and to work legally in the United States. And also the good important information about that is we do thousands of DACA renewals throughout the Santa Barbara County.
Thousands.
Yes. And that's because we get funded through the state. So around a certain time of the year, they let us know we have funding. So our services are free. Plus, we cover the $4.95 governmental fee for each DACA renewal application. And that depends when we have the budget to cover that. So unfortunately, sometimes we do have families that cannot afford to renew. So when that is available, we have a lot of DACA recipients calling in to renew their DACA.
Gosh, what an important service. So
Yes.
do they have a card that they carry to
Correct.
prove that they're...
So it looks really familiar to a permanent residency card. The only thing, it's not green, it's red. And it has a picture on it, and it says only authorized to work in the United States. They can travel within the U.S. They obtain a social security card that also says only authorized for work authorization purposes. And then they also get a normal California identification and a driver's license.
Oh, wow.
Correct.
So how long have you been doing this work?
I started at Importa back in 2012, and Importa started in 2011.
Gosh.
It's been a while now.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell me about some of the other immigration services you provide.
The other thing that we also do is we encourage our permanent residents to become U.S. citizens.
Oh, okay.
We really encourage everyone to vote. And it's a really, really big challenge because a lot of our permanent residents either don't want to study for their civic exam, or they're going to do the exam in English, which sometimes that's an issue. But we really encourage everyone to apply for naturalization if they qualify. We provide all the civic materials. We don't have classes in our office, but Santa Barbara City College, the Schott Center, there's a lot of resources in our community that can provide the one-on-one tutoring. And we encourage everyone to become U.S. citizens. And the good part about that is that there's also a fee waiver available for those who are permanent residents and receive a mean tested benefits such as Medi-Cal or food stamps. So they actually get the $725 waived if they receive a mean tested benefit. So they become U.S. citizens free. We don't charge for our service.
Wow. Oh, gosh. You don't charge for your service.
Correct. And their USCIS fees get waived. So we really encourage everyone to become U.S. citizens.
I guess. Correct. So how do people find out about you?
People can either visit us on our website or on our Facebook page or our phone numbers. We can always provide our main phone number, which is 805-604-5060. And then we will provide the numbers for Lompoc and Santa Maria office if it's closer for them to be seen in one of those offices.
So tell me about the name, Importa. What does it mean? How did you decide on it?
So Importa, it means important. And the reason we chose Importa is because it's really, really important. Immigration is really important for our community. And the reason why Importa started was because we noticed that there was no organization in our Santa Barbara County that provided the services. And we started getting a huge need of people reaching out to us asking about immigration. So that's when we decided to open our Santa Barbara office, and then eventually we opened our Lompoc and Santa Maria office because up north we noticed that there was a big community that needed our support, our help.
So you guys fill out all the paperwork or help them fill out the
Correct.
paperwork. You waive all kinds of fees, it sounds like,
Correct.
and you don't charge for your work.
Yes.
Where does your funding come from?
So we get funded through the state. There's quotas that we need to fulfill at the end of the year. So the more we help, the more funding we get. So that's why we encourage everyone to come to us if they need the service. And another important thing to know is that we're not attorneys, we're not immigration attorneys, but we're authorized by the Department of Justice to provide free immigration legal work. And what does an accredited representative mean is that we're authorized to practice immigration law by the Department of Justice.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's the same exact representation as an immigration attorney. The only thing is that we're not talking about thousands of dollars in between.
Yeah. So you probably also accept financial donations.
Correct.
Right.
So all our services are free. The only thing the client does pay is the shipping fee, which varies from $10 to $12. Before the COVID-19, we were even including our passport pictures for free. Now clients do need to provide passport pictures, and that can be taken at CVS or Costco. And other than that, everything is completely free. And it goes along with the G28, which means legal representation every single case. So once a case gets submitted from Importa, we receive the exact same notices the client receives at home.
Oh, that's
so
good.
we're aware of every little notice that the client receives throughout their process.
So let's say someone wants to donate to your organization. They can go to your website, and you probably have a donate now button.
Correct. If you go to importasb.org, it should be the first thing that pops up, and it should say donate.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yes.
And I bet you depend on those donations
Yes.
to make ends meet, especially since you don't charge, even though you get funded by the state. Still, I suspect that doesn't cover all of your expenses.
Correct. And what we also encourage donors is to sponsor a DACA recipient. We do have...
that's a good idea.
Yes, so we do have families that have more than one DACA recipient and cannot afford to renew all three children. And when we have the funding, then we'll cover the $495, but then during that time of year that we don't have the funding, sometimes mom and dad have to choose who's going to renew. And sometimes it's only one DACA recipient, and that means that all the other two DACA recipients can't renew, can't go to school, etc., which is a bummer. So we really encourage donors to sponsor a DACA recipient.
So when a donor sponsors a DACA recipient, they help financially, but do they also make a relationship with the person, or no?
Yes, so it really depends on the DACA recipient. We encourage our DACA recipients to thank the donor and provide a little background. But that really depends on if the DACA recipient wants to provide their personal information. But most of our DACAs do. They're really thankful to have the opportunity to renew.
Good. So you've been there for, let's see, 8 years.
Correct.
And I'll bet you have a story or two you could share with us about maybe one of the families that you helped.
Yes, so we have a lot of stories. But our biggest reward is to see our families smile after them obtaining their legal permanent residency card. And we had family members come in, and there's one family member from Santa Maria, and they did not know they were eligible to become permanent residents.
Oh.
A family member petitioned for them a long time ago, before 2001, and there's a law that's 245I that protects them. And they knew a family member had petitioned for them, but they didn't know that they were eligible to adjust their status through a U.S. citizen child over 21 years of age, which they had a daughter. When they came to us, I asked for all the documents, everything that they had. We reviewed everything, and I said, hey, your daughter is over 21. She's a U.S. citizen. You're protected under 245I. You're eligible to adjust status, meaning you're eligible to apply for your permanent residency card. They worked in the fields, and their Spanish, they wouldn't speak much Spanish. They spoke Mixteco.
Oh, gosh.
So it was really challenging to communicate with them and to earn their trust. So when I explained to them, we don't charge for our service, we're more than happy to help you with your case. They brought all the documents, and we filed for their adjustment. And 9 months later, they obtained their permanent residency card, and we receive the cards in our office just for security purposes, especially if they live in apartments. And when I called them to have them pick them up in our Santa Barbara office, they just couldn't believe it. And it's just very rewarding to know that after so many years of not visiting their home country, they're able to go home and see mom and dad and their siblings.
Gosh.
And show their culture to their children, because children never been there before. So it's really nice. It's really rewarding.
And I bet you have those kinds of things happen all the time.
Yes, we do. And it can be something as someone who's already a permanent resident, and we encourage them to become U.S. citizens. That's a huge step. There's a lot of permanent residents out there that are scared of applying to become U.S. citizens just because they know they need to be interviewed by a USCIS officer and be questioned and all the civic questions that they need to remember. So it's really encouraging to know that people are becoming legal, people are becoming U.S. citizens. We help DACA recipients renew. It's great.
That is wonderful.
Yes.
Well, we have about a minute left. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the audience?
We would love you guys to visit us on our Facebook page. We do post a lot of information on there. We like to let the community know of everything that's changing every day with immigration. And if you have anyone who needs the service and needs the help, please send them our way, and they can contact us at 805-604-5060 or visit our website.
That's wonderful. Oh gosh, Marlene, thanks so much for being with us today. And mostly, thank you for your very important work. Importa work.
Yes. Thank you for having us. Really appreciate it.
Yes. And thank you for joining us on 805 Focus, and we'll see you next time.